Congressman, it's great to have you on this morning. So you served our country for 26 years as a retired SEAL, as I said. Stolen valor is a serious thing. To me, Walz and Kamala have a big problem. How do you think military families are going to react to this?
Well, good morning. Listen, I am the longest serving enlisted member of Congress in the history of our country. Fact check that, Walz. Here's the issue. He was the acting command sergeant major for his unit. That's the senior enlisted advisor for his unit. He found out that his unit was going to be deployed to combat in Iraq, and he retired. That is a cardinal sin in the military. And I was speaking to my wife and some other military spouses over the last couple of days when we found this out. They're more angry than the service members are, because what Walz did was sent other service members into combat in his stead and left those wives and husbands wondering if their spouses are going to come back alive, because he wanted to sit in the United States and hide on his couch. This is absolutely unforgivable. He was not a retired command sergeant major. He retired as a master sergeant. That's an E8. It's the same pay grade that I retired as. He was not the most senior ranking enlisted person to serve in Congress. That's a lie. He knows it's a lie. He said that he carried weapons in war, and he didn't. So I don't really think that civilians understand how serious this is. This man sent other people to combat in his stead so that he could hide under his couch in the United States of America. He has absolutely no business in public service, and God forbid he would ever become the president of the United States and the commander-in-chief of all the military when he sent his men to combat in his stead.
Yeah, somebody he served with, a gentleman by the name of Thomas Behrens. Again, this is according to Alpha News. He said that Walz abandoned the brave men and women of his unit who went to Iraq. Some died. Behrens claimed that he lied and tried to spin why he suddenly retired. My fear, Congressman, is that the media is not going to report that part of the story, and he got away with it. He was elected to what? 6 terms in Congress in Minnesota, and then he was elected to governor of Minnesota in 2018. Nancy Pelosi said this yesterday. Take a listen.
Well, J.D. Vance has criticized him as never having been in combat. And,
has he? Has he?
Well,
has J.D. Vance been in combat?
Well, I think he was over in Iraq, I think, as a public relations officer, as a communications officer. I think that's the case.
All right. And then, Congressman, this is CNN yesterday. This is call for number 5, comparing Tim Walz's service record to J.D. Vance.
Well, here is Tim Walz, who enlisted when he was 17 years old. He served in the National Guard for 24 years. And I'm not aware of any military service that J.D. Vance has ever served. So let's just make the comparison there. And what happened in the tragedy of the killing of George Floyd and then the unrest. Yeah, okay, pardon me for that.
Congressman, when it comes to Walz, when the going got tough, he got going. He retired, still had 2 years. He enlisted for 6 years, still had 2 years to go. His unit went to Iraq. But do you hear what they're doing? And it's subtle, but they're basically making the claim that J.D. Vance didn't serve our country. He served our country, but he came back and then went to college, went to a war zone, went to Iraq. What do you make of that and the way they're trying to spin the records of both these men who will one day be on the debate stage together?
What they're trying to do is cover for Tim Walz. Tim Walz is a coward. J.D. Vance deployed to combat, and I don't care what capacity he did. When you go to my office, please come by in D.C., you'll see all the service symbols up there, or the SEALs, and on there is the Wisconsin National Guard. I have that right next to all the active duty SEALs, because the enemy doesn't care if you're a National Guardsman. The enemy doesn't care if you're a reservist. The last 3 casualties we sustained, KIAs, were all reservists. Those are in in Jordan, and no one cared. The enemy doesn't care if you're a reservist or a National Guardsman. They're looking at the flag on your shoulder. The American flag is what the enemy targets. They couldn't target Walz's flag because he was in Minnesota. So I really want to stress to everybody that by him abandoning his men, he has abandoned and given up his ability for public service. I can't believe that he got elected to dog catcher, let alone a congressman, and now he's the vice presidential candidate for the Democrat Party.